Hello.
Hi.
I'm CARINA,
I'm Matt.
if you don't already know us.
And this is a follow-up to my newsletter last week. And I've included a clip to a YouTube video called It's Not About the Nail.
I think so. Something like that.
And it's this very funny, succinct sketch about how the ways in which men don't listen to their female partners because they're trying to fix all the time. They're trying to jump to solving the problem. And you first showed me the video.
I did.
Yes, I love it. I've shared it more than once. But after I shared it in the newsletter last week, which you're on my list, we had a conversation about it because there was some context that you'd wanted me to include that I hadn't included.
I had some new thoughts.
Yes.
Shall I?
Please.
Okay. So what occurred to me this time, I can't remember the whole newsletter, but what occurred to me listening to the video this time was that the man's experience of validating this woman who is keeping a nail in her head is I'm really able to track by his very excellent acting how present he still thinks what she's doing is ridiculous. And I felt like we needed to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple of reasons. It makes sense when you're doing something new and outside of your comfort zone that it could feel awkward, it could feel uncomfortable, you could feel resistance, your ego might pop up that like your way's better, why do I have to do this thing that this other person likes? But there was a little bit of, they didn't really resolve in the video. There's sort of a subtext that she's an idiot for keeping this nail in her head. And I really wanted to address that because it doesn't look well on women, to be honest.
Right. So you didn't like, so it felt like he was more checking the box of doing what she asked, listening to her, but then she still has the nail stuck in it. And if you haven't seen the video, we'll include the link so you can watch it. Very funny. But she still has the nail in her head and she's still not refusing, but she's still sort of ignoring the fact that she could take the nail out and get rid of all that pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so there's a real both and there of like, she has work to do to let go of the nail. And part of, I think, the invitation for us to talk about it a little bit more is loving our partners where they are, but actually loving them where they are. So if he's gonna, and he did a really good job. Like we were talking that there was like moments where we could feel his genuine, like he like put his stuff to the side and he really listened. He
really did. And she really was like, you saw her relax. I mean, the performances are really spot on.
They really are.
And you see her relax and just become vulnerable and soften.
Grateful for that witnessing.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot my train of thought. But then because it doesn't ever get fixed, it's like I feel like, especially from the woman's point of view, I feel like I can see him getting back in his loop, that if we could just fix it, then it would be better.
Yeah.
And there's a kindness and a compassion that we can't actually push our person to see beyond where they are. And yet at the same time, there can be a point where the man could say, I love you, but babe, we need to take the nail out of your head.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a separate conversation. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah. And there was something that you had said when we were talking about it earlier that was interesting and feels true as well, that, you know, she's in this pain and there's this discomfort and this frustration, and the possibility of her actually feeling validated and witnessed there could allow her to be like, okay, now I feel seen. Now I'm ready to move on from this place. And I think there's so much of that that happens in a couple, which is, I'm not willing to let go of this until you see me and validate me where I am, and then I can let this fucking thing go. Yeah.
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 So I wanted to name some of those parts of it's totally normal and its own valid experience to have the resistance to doing things in a new way. I felt like it was important to name the subtext of she's an idiot, because that's part of the waters we swim in. Like,
right.
The patriarchy has you, like, women have drunk the water, men have drunk the water, that she is not to be believed or trusted or valid in her experience. So then you can expect it. Like, if you're just like, okay, that's part of my secret subconscious thoughts, then when it comes up, I'm like, wait, maybe there's something else I could think here. Maybe that's actually something where I could feel more deeply for her experience. So those two layers. And then I wanted to do a bit of a takeaway. I wanted to do the takeaway of having the courage to listen to the voices that come up in your head as, say, you're trying to lean into listening to your person and you're finding thoughts come up like, this is ridiculous, I shouldn't have to be here again. Why is he doing that again? Why is he treating, whatever the thing is, or in your case, for her, for you, for your people, to hear it, to sort of be a witness to your thoughts so that you can actually start to investigate, because they can be two separate tracks. What are we going to do can happen in a separate conversation from how am I feeling? And I think letting those two spaces stay separate can be a real gift, so that if she wants to be heard, that conversation can just be about being heard.
Yeah.
In fact, would it even feel possible as a man to say, I would love to hear you. Could we have a conversation about any possible action steps after this? Like, could you even, I'm just asking him in the moment.
You are just asking me right now.
I am right now. Do you feel like that would work?
It would feel like, I think it would depend on the situation. It might be something to bring up afterwards. It feels like validate first, like listen, validate first, like just hold that, sort of put that aside. So, because, I'm imagining, like, if I were to say that, like, you might feel kind of rushed through, or like I was sort of.
Well, that depends on the space of holding. So sort of tracking your own abilities. Anyway, that was my takeaway. What do you think you want to add?
Mine would be similar, which is thinking about him in the video, and sort of how quickly he reverts back to, you're a fool, or what, whatever, the come on, his frustration. It's what you mentioned, like the noticing, like the witnessing of one's own thoughts and feelings and sensations in the body. And this is where men often have some work to do, because we move ourselves out of feeling so quickly, and have been doing so for so many years. The sensations in our bodies are uncomfortable. So for him, that character, to be more patient with himself, be like, oh, this is still really uncomfortable. Like, I've noticed that I still want to solve the problem and tell her about the nail in her head, and just to sort of expand that capacity to be in that place of just listening and validating her experience, and asking the question to himself of, what's it like to be her right now? What's it like to be having this experience right now? And connect from that place.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Actually, I'm going to do one more just for the women. Although, men, if it's like speaks to you, please, by all means. And that is to ask for what you desire up front. So if you have something emotional, or something you're trying to figure out, or something that you're muddling through, especially when you don't have a clear action step, to just let your guy know that you want to, or your person, anyone, that would you, and I would ask for consent actually. Matt, would you have space? I need to just like talk through a few things that are really uncomfortable right now. Would you have like maybe 10 minutes for me just to sort of vent for a little bit?
Yeah, that's really,
and it's just really clear. Then he can also track his capacity and not feel sprung on, not know what are the rules of engagement. It gives you a little bit of like, okay, this is what she'd like from me. Does that feel good?
Yeah, absolutely. And vice versa, for the man to ask, oh, I have a solution to this that came up for me. Would you like to
a possible solution feel even better. As if we're in a brainstorming phase.
I had a possible solution. Would you like to hear it now, or do you want me to hold on to it and we can come back to it later if you would like. So again, kind of offering, what do you need right now? And sort of seeking consent for that.
Big fan. I think consent is way bigger than sex. Consent is can be an ongoing, really lovely way of staying on the same page together.
Yeah.
Really, really lovely.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
Thank you.
There it is. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We just thought this would be a really fun follow-up. If you enjoyed it or had any add-ons, or if you're my people and want to get on Matt's list, let me know. The other way, he's much better at sending emails than I'm getting there. Or if you had any thoughts or questions, or what about this, or what about that, or concerns or confusion or anything, please feel free to press reply, and our inbox is open.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.